Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're tackling a topic that's central to economic fairness and the well-being of millions worldwide, the minimum wage. It's a number in a spreadsheet, sure, but it represents so much more. It's about dignity, opportunity, and the pursuit of a life free from the clutches of poverty. Now, minimum wage laws vary significantly around the world, influenced by factors like a country's economic development, social policies, and even political climate. Some nations boast robust minimum wages that provide a decent standard of living while others lag behind, leaving many struggling to make ends meet. In this video, we're embarking on a journey to uncover the top countries with the highest minimum wages, exploring their unique approaches to this crucial aspect of labor law. We'll delve into the intricacies of each country's system, examining how these wages are determined, adjusted, and the impact they have on both workers and the overall economy. Get ready to have your assumptions challenged, your perspectives broadened, and maybe even spark some lively debate in the comments below. Because when it comes to the minimum wage, there's always more to the story than meets the eye. Let's dive in. First up on our global minimum wage expedition, we find ourselves down under in the land of sunshine, surfing, and surprisingly worker-friendly policies, Australia. Now, Australia has long been recognized for its high standard of living, and a key contributor to this is its robust minimum wage system. Currently, Aussie workers are guaranteed a minimum wage of $21.38 per hour, which translates to roughly $14.50 in USD. That's more than double the federal minimum wage in the United States. This rate applies to all workers, regardless of age or industry, reflecting a commitment to fair pay across the board. But it's not just the number itself that's impressive. It's how that number measures up against the cost of living. While Australia isn't exactly known for being cheap, the minimum wage allows for a relatively comfortable lifestyle, particularly compared to many other developed nations. This emphasis on ensuring a living wage is deeply ingrained in Australian culture and politics, with strong labor unions and a history of progressive social policies shaping the country's approach to worker rights. Next, our minimum wage adventure takes us to the heart of Europe, to a country that might be small in size but stands tall when it comes to worker compensation, Luxembourg. This tiny nation, often overshadowed by its larger neighbors, packs a powerful punch in terms of economic prosperity and social welfare. Luxembourg boasts the second highest minimum wage globally, currently set at €13.05 per hour, or roughly $14.75 in USD. This impressive rate reflects the country's high cost of living, ensuring that even those earning the minimum wage can afford a decent quality of life in this affluent nation. But Luxembourg's commitment to fair pay runs deeper than just a number. The country has a long history of strong social partnerships between the government, employers, and trade unions. This collaborative approach fosters a culture of dialogue and compromise, ensuring that workers' rights are protected and their voices are heard. Furthermore, Luxembourg's robust economy, driven by its strong financial sector and high productivity levels, provides a solid foundation for its generous minimum wage. The government recognizes that a well-compensated workforce is essential for sustained economic growth and social stability. So far on our world tour of surprisingly high minimum wages, we've visited Australia and Luxembourg, two countries that, let's be honest, are not exactly known for being easy on the wallet. But next up, we're headed to a place that might surprise you, New Zealand. Yes, the land of hobbits, breathtaking landscapes, and apparently a pretty decent minimum wage. As of 2023, the minimum wage in New Zealand sits at $22.70 NZD per hour for adults. Now, I know what you might be thinking, John, that's like $14, that's not that much. And you're right, in a vacuum, it doesn't sound astronomical. But here's the thing, context is everything. The cost of living in New Zealand is relatively high, especially when it comes to housing. However, the minimum wage is designed to ensure that even those earning the least can afford a decent standard of living. And that's a big deal. It means that people working full-time on minimum wage are less likely to live below the poverty line, which has all sorts of positive ripple effects throughout society. From the rolling hills of New Zealand, we hop over to continental Europe, and more specifically, to France. Now, France is known for many things. Its romantic language, its delicious pastries, its contributions to art and philosophy. The country has a rich cultural heritage that has influenced the world in countless ways. But did you know that France is also home to one of the highest minimum wages in the world? This is a point of pride for many French citizens. At the heart of France's minimum wage system is the SMIC, which stands for Salaire Minimum Interprofessionnel de Croissance. Or, if your French is as rusty as mine, the growth-indexed minimum wage. Catchy, right? It's a mouthful, but it plays a crucial role in the lives of many. As of 2023, the SMIC guarantees French workers a gross minimum wage of €1,747.20 per month for a 35-hour work week. This ensures a basic standard of living for all workers. But here's where it gets interesting. The SMIC isn't just some arbitrary number dreamed up by politicians in some Parisian office. It's actually calculated based on a whole bunch of factors, including inflation, economic growth, and changes in the cost of living. This comprehensive approach ensures fairness and sustainability. The idea is to ensure that the minimum wage keeps pace with the actual cost of living in France. This way, workers can afford the essentials without falling behind. And it doesn't stop there. The French government reviews the SMIC every single year. This annual review process is crucial for maintaining economic balance. That's right, every year, they reassess whether the minimum wage needs to be adjusted to maintain its purchasing power. This ensures that the wage remains relevant and effective in supporting the workforce. From the bustling streets of Paris, a city known for its romance and history, we travel north to the Netherlands, a country renowned for its picturesque canals, its ubiquitous bicycles, and its surprisingly intricate minimum wage system. You see, unlike many other countries that have a single minimum wage for all adults, the Netherlands has chosen a different path. They've implemented an age-based minimum wage system. That's right, in the Netherlands, your earnings at the bottom of the pay scale are determined by your age. It's a system designed, in theory, to reflect the varying levels of experience and productivity that are often associated with different ages. Now, I know what you might be thinking, John. Isn't that a bit discriminatory? And it's a valid question. Critics of the age-based system argue that it can put younger workers at a disadvantage, who may be just as skilled and productive as their older counterparts but are legally entitled to earn less. This can lead to feelings of unfairness and frustration among the youth. However, proponents of the system argue that it helps to reduce youth unemployment by making it more affordable for businesses to hire younger workers. They believe that this system encourages companies to give opportunities to younger individuals who are just starting out in their careers. They also point out that the minimum wage increases significantly once workers turn 21, providing a clear path to higher earnings as they gain experience and skills. The debate over the age-based minimum wage in the Netherlands is ongoing, with strong arguments on both sides. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, reflecting the challenges of balancing economic competitiveness with social equity. The Netherlands continues to navigate this delicate balance, striving to create a fair and prosperous society for all its citizens. So we're hopping over the Irish Sea to the Emerald Isle, a land known for its lush landscapes, vibrant culture, and increasingly its debate on living wages. See, in Ireland, the minimum wage isn't just a number, it's intertwined with a larger conversation about what constitutes a decent standard of living. For a long time, Ireland didn't actually have a statutory minimum wage. The idea was that strong unions and collective bargaining would ensure fair pay. And while that worked to some extent, there was a growing recognition that a legal baseline was necessary. Thus, the national minimum wage was born in 2000. But here's the thing, the conversation didn't stop there. Because as the cost of living, especially in urban centers like Dublin, continued to rise, so too did the clamor for a living wage, a wage that goes beyond mere subsistence and allows for a genuine quality of life. It's a complex issue, with passionate voices on all sides. Some argue that a high minimum wage could stifle job creation, particularly for young people entering the workforce. Others counter that a living wage is essential for social equity, reducing poverty, and boosting the economy from the bottom up. Right, let's pop over to the United Kingdom, a nation with a bit of a split personality when it comes to minimum wage. It's a fascinating place with a rich history and diverse cultures. You see, the UK is a union of 4 countries, England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. And while they share a central government, they have some degree of autonomy, particularly on matters like labor law. This unique arrangement allows each country to address its specific needs and circumstances. This means that the minimum wage situation in the UK can feel a bit like navigating a roundabout, with slightly different rules depending on where you are. It's a bit like driving through a maze where each turn leads to a new set of guidelines. Don't worry though, we'll break it down. Understanding the nuances can help you navigate this complex landscape. In England, Scotland, and Wales, the baseline is called the National Living Wage. This wage is intended to provide a fair standard of living for workers. Now, despite the name, it's not technically a living wage in the truest sense. That is, it's not calculated based on the actual cost of living. Instead, it's a government-set rate aimed at ensuring a minimum standard of income. Instead, it's set by the government and is designed to be higher than the national minimum wage, which applies to younger workers. This distinction helps to support younger individuals entering the workforce. As of 2023, the national living wage in these three nations stands at £9.50 for those aged 23 and over. This rate is reviewed annually to keep up with economic changes. Northern Ireland, however, dances to its own tune. It has its own approach to wage regulations. While they generally follow the UK-wide national minimum wage, they haven't adopted the national living wage. This creates a different economic environment for workers there. This means that the minimum wage for those aged 25 and over in Northern Ireland is aligned with the UK-wide minimum wage, which is lower than the national living wage. This distinction highlights the unique economic policies within the UK. Okay, let's shift gears and head over to Germany, a country often held up as an economic powerhouse. But here's a fun fact that might surprise you. Germany didn't actually have a nationwide statutory minimum wage until relatively recently. For decades, wage negotiations were largely left to unions and employer associations, resulting in a system of sector-specific minimum wages. This approach, while seemingly decentralized, actually worked pretty well for Germany. They boasted strong unions, a robust manufacturing sector, and a culture of social partnership between employers and employees. But as the service sector grew, and atypical forms of employment, like part-time and temporary work, became more common, the cracks in this system began to show. See, not all sectors were covered by collective agreements, and those that were often excluded certain groups like low-skilled workers or recent immigrants. This led to growing wage inequality and concerns about in-work poverty. So, in 2015, after years of debate and political wrangling, Germany finally took the plunge and introduced a nationwide statutory minimum wage. So, we've talked about minimum wage in a lot of places, but Belgium is interesting. See, Belgium has this whole system where minimum wage isn't just a single number for everyone. Instead, it's like a choose-your-own-adventure novel, except instead of fighting dragons, you're, well, getting paid to do your job. The thing is, Belgium has these things called sector-specific minimum wages. That means that if you're flipping burgers, you might have a different minimum wage than someone who's, say, building houses. It's all very organized, very Belgian. This system is designed to be fair and take into account the different types of work and skill levels involved. It also means that there's not just one big minimum wage debate in Belgium, but a whole bunch of smaller ones happening in different sectors. And let me tell you, those debates can get pretty heated, especially with Belgium's strong unions always fighting for better wages and working conditions. Alright, let's hop over to North America and talk about Canada, eh? Now you might think that a country as vast and diverse as Canada would have a single uniform minimum wage, but you'd be wrong. Because Canada, much like its southern neighbor, likes to keep things interesting. See, in Canada, minimum wage is actually a provincial matter. That means each of Canada's 10 provinces and 3 territories gets to set its own minimum wage. Think of it like a giant game of wage-based hopscotch, except instead of squares you have provinces. This means that the minimum wage can vary significantly depending on where you are in Canada. You could be earning one amount in bustling Toronto and a completely different amount in more rural Newfoundland. This system reflects the different economic realities and costs of living across this massive country. And there you have it. We've journeyed across the globe, from the land of kiwi birds to the home of waffles, exploring the diverse landscape of minimum wage around the world. We've seen how countries calculate their minimum wages, the factors they consider, and the ongoing debates surrounding this complex issue. Remember, there's no one-size-fits-all solution, and each country's approach reflects its unique economic and social context. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. Let us know in the comments which country's minimum wage surprised you the most. See you next time.